Greetings and blessings, butterflies. Welcome back. I'm famous the Amour, and I'm here today with a new segment I'm going to call Cocoon Conversations. Okay, first of all, I want to start off by explaining what this segment is going to be about and for. Um, Cocoon Conversations is going to be a safe place where we can have conversations about you know, evolving, the healing process, just point blank period, where we can have conversations and a safe space to talk about, celebrate the healing process or, get help with the healing process. So, I plan to, at some point maybe, do podcasts or, have guests on, where we could, or open panel where people can come in and, receive help for healing, not just from me, but from others in the community that, might have a little bit more experience or expertise than I might have. I also want to talk about why I call my subscribers, not only my subscribers, but anyone that this message reaches, whether you're subscribed to me or not. The reason why I refer to you all as butterflies instead of caterpillars. The reason is really just very very simple. It's because we're stepping into our power. We're owning our power. That's what we're doing here. We're not focusing on where we were or the current stage that we're in. We know that we are evolving. We know we're headed to somewhere greater. So we're gonna claim that power. We're gonna own it, and that's when we're going to speak, as we already are. Because being a butterfly, the evolution is already existing in us. So all we're doing is just acknowledging it out loud when I refer to you all as butterflies. And next, I want to talk about why I started this channel. I started this channel because I've always had this great urge for healing. As a little girl, I found myself taking on situations that were adult situations that I had absolutely no qualifications or certifications to be trying to take on and heal. And it started to develop a pattern of overgiving. And through that overgiving, I still wasn't getting what I wanted. Even though I was so giving and so loving, I still wasn't receiving the things that I wanted. And I was so puzzled by why, if if I have all this capacity to give and it feels so natural to me and it's something that I just can't stop, why is it not getting me the things that I want? And what can I do about it? If it's working against me, what can I do about it to keep it from doing so? And so when I understood that I had this strong urge to heal, I started to think about, okay, how could I, still, help and heal, assist, spread guidance. I wonder how I could do that without, excessively doing it towards, a situation that was in my life currently or a person that, was in my life at that current one time. I want to know how I could still do that and, get that to feel balanced and feel like I'm still being myself, but at the same time have some boundaries to where I wouldn't be, over giving to these situations. And that's when the idea for we're honing into the idea, because many people, through the idea it me to do a channel and read and things like that. But when I really started to accept the idea for myself is when I saw this as being an outlet, a way that I could help heal and I could heal as well at the same time without having to, put it all in one area or in one space. This way I can do it and spread it out and feel good about still what I'm doing, but still allow times for my own desires to manifest and not be pushing so hard towards them, if that makes sense. Because I highly believe that and have understood that our creativity in our service. And when I say service, I mean, anything that you do for people to provide comfort, to be generous to them, or, to help them. Any of those things are, classified as your service. But our creativity and our service is really, really our salvation, because it's what can help ground us and keep us from being able to, like I said, aggressively, and assertively, go after our desires with all this pressure. Because the pressure is what changes the dynamic or the alignment that you are in for what you want. You don't want to have all that pressure. So when you are, in your creative space, or when you are offering your services, this is the time that you are giving, surrendering to the unknown, and at the same time owning and walking in your purpose and allowing things to happen. Now, moving back to the butterflies. Everything in this life, is connected. Everything. I mean, that's when we have the circles and, the three, the infinity symbols and things like that. That's when we on, the goal is, oneness and, one consciousness. That's the reason why, is because everything is connected. And so I wanted to use the butterfly, analogy, um, as an example, to be able to, connect us to, basic life cycles. Because I don't care what figure of history or anything like that you look at, or animal or anything like that. When you look at the cycle of them, or things that they, that they went through, biblical, biblical figures, politicians, scenarios in your life. There are cycles. There is, there are steps, that I don't care what you do, you still have to go through these same set of steps in order to acquire it where you're trying to go. Excuse me, my words are rolling all over each other. Let me slow down. But I wanted to use the butterfly analogy to promote healing, and to help us to understand that we are all connected. That's the reason for, the oneness and the one consciousness, because we are connected. And if we can use the things that are around us to, if we understand the things that's going on around us, we can use them to connect to the things that could going on in our own personal lives, in our own personal journeys. So I'm going to start off first of all by talking about. We're going to first start off by talking about the biology of butterflies. I'm going to try to keep this as short as possible, but I'm not going to, stress myself about it either. As we all know, the caterpillar, it starts off as a caterpillar and goes into the cocoon, and then, we emerge, as a butterfly. So, that is the stage of metamorphosis. Oh yeah, let me go back and make a point on that. And that is okay. The reason why I've explained the reason why I call you all, butterflies, and the reason why I often say, or always say, welcome to your metamorphosis at the end of the video that I'm posting, is because I truly believe that in our, cocoon stage or whatever, what have you, that is where we are getting, our medicine. That's where we are getting, our healing and things like that. And so when you take your time and, listen to my videos, and you allow the video to play all the way out, and you've gotten all of the message, that Spirit gave to me to give to you, then to me you are, entering your metamorphosis. Before, you are, you're healing, you're learning, you're in your cocoon. And so once you receive the messages, you are in your metamorphosis. And I don't want us to believe that, just like any life cycle, just like, the biblical context and things like that, just like, what I'm saying, the cycles of tarot cards. I don't want you to believe or be under the impression that you go through a metamorphosis stage only one time in your life. You have many metamorphoses, many transformations, that's going to happen in your life. So every time, that you are, come here and engage, or, you take not just my guidance, but any kind of guidance, or that applies to the situation that is current in your life, you are in those stages of, a cocoon, caterpillar, cocoon to metamorphosis, butterfly stage. So you can apply it anytime and anywhere. It's a continuous cycle. It keeps going as long as you know you are energy, as long as you know you're here. So moving on, like I said, we're finna talk about the biology of, caterpillar, cocoon, butterfly. So first we're gonna start off, I wanna explain that when it comes to a caterpillar, it enters the cocoon, or as they say, the chrysalis stage, but it just doesn't just grow wings. It actually dissolves into a liquid, which I find very, very interesting. It literally breaks down into imaginal cells, which carries the blueprint of the butterfly that it will become. Energetically, the things that is happening to a butterfly, the butterfly's old body completely breaks down. It had to surrender to what it was. Inside, the imaginal cells began to activate. Now, mind you, they were always there, they just lie dormant, but they begin to activate. And these same cells communicate and organize the new form, which is the wings, the antenna, the color. Then the the caterpillar, sorry, enters, full wrapped cocoon stage. This is where you have the darkness, the stillness, and where the butterfly learns to trust, because they have no idea, no clue that they're about to transform into a butterfly. They're in the unknown. They don't know what's gonna happen. But then my beautiful, beautiful butterfly emerges. But not as that same caterpillar that you went in as, but as a whole completely different divine being. Now, even though I kind of touched on, energetically what's happening, I wanted to, also talk about spiritually, healing wise, what's happening at each of these stages. So, first, as stated, the caterpillar sheds its old body, completely breaks down. This is what we would call the beginning of the shadow work. This is the dark night of the soul, where everything familiar crumbles, old identities, beliefs, survival patterns, they all start to dissolve. You're not who you used to be, but you don't know who you're becoming either. And that can be scary, uncomfortable, but also necessary, my radiant butterflies. Then on the inside, those imaginal cells begin to activate. This is your desire to connect with spirit. These cells are dormant dreams, the callings of your higher self. They begin to hum underneath the rubble. This is where you feel the urge to heal, to awaken, to move towards something deeper, even though you don't know what it is or what it looks like yet. You just still feel that urge, and you know it's coming. These cells begin to organize into, that new form. This is when you're connecting with spirit, that higher self embodiment. Now, the blueprint of your soul begins to take shape. You're aligning, you're attuning, you're remembering who you were before the world got all in your business and told you who you were supposed to be. Then you start to embodying that wisdom that you sought, not just thinking about it, actually living it. Next comes that stillness, that darkness, that place where you find that trust and you hold on to that endurance. This is that sacred pause. You're not rushing forward. You're not chasing anything. You're becoming. This is the place of integration, where the silence is medicine, the trust is the bridge between the unknown and the known. And you know what's next? That emergence. Again, remember, not as that caterpillar you went in as, but something divinely different. This is your rebirth, your evolution, your butterfly moment. You didn't just heal, you transformed. And the wings that were inside of you all along, now you can see them. And you're ready to take flight. My butterflies, I hope you see how that connects with whatever you're going through. Use the life cycle of a butterfly as your blueprint, as your map to gauge where you are in your journey. Are you are you just entering your dark night of the soul phase? Are you connecting with spirit? Have you even started to desire the connection? Are you in that stillness, that dark space? Or are you ready to emerge from the cocoon? No matter what place you are, there is no shame. You are aligning, you're healing, and your journey is your journey. And like as I stated before, you don't evolve once. You have many areas, many themes, many concepts to evolve and change and move past. So don't get stuck on where you are in the journey and on this leg of the journey. Don't get stuck. Don't worry about it. Just recognize and know that you're going through the cycle and you will complete it and come out on the other side. I want to close my butterflies by stating how grateful I am to be able to do this. How honored I am to have the opportunity to be on this platform, assisting and healing. And like I said, along with it, healing myself. It's it's imperative, and I'm saying this because it's so imperative that anything that is misaligned with you, that is no longer serving you, that is asking to be released, that is being illuminated for you right now, that needs change. Don't reject it. Work with this energy that we are under. This Aries Saturn energy, this Saturn and Aries energy, which is all about, with Aries being a Mars sign, it's all about, boldness, it's assertiveness and being creative. And then, Saturn, which is daddy, you know what I'm saying? Energy, which is all about discipline and boundaries and limitations. Work with this energy. Don't feel like you're stuck. Please don't feel like you're stuck. Work with the energy, because if you are stuck in something or a situation, it is because it is time to change it. I'm not saying you have to walk away from it or anything, but it's time to apply the changes that are necessary to remove the energy that is surrounding you that's got you stuck and feeling like you can't move forward. That is unhealthy energy for anyone to be in. So if a situation is feeling dire and it's got you in a depressive mode and it's got you aggravated and frustrated and it's got you wanting to hurry up and rush things along and force things to happen, that's not you're not working with the energy. You're working against it. Working with the energy is recognizing what this energy is trying to tell you, what the things that's around you is trying to tell you, and implementing, using your discernment and implementing the correct methods and procedures that will help you to get to your desired place and operate from your highest version of yourself. I thank you all so much for listening to me, and I hope that this is a segment that we can expand on. Let me know if you all like it, if you have any ideas, critiques. Hey, I'll even take, help if you want to work together and, collaborate and do something. That's cool too. Um, just let me know any and everything. I'm here. I'm open. I'm ready to help. I'm ready to continue on this mission because, like I said, it feels so good to be in this spot. And that's the reason why I want you all to understand that whatever's being illuminated for you, allow it to happen so it can make room for the things that is meant for you. Because when Saturn was, on me, I promise you, I didn't. I fought against it. I did. I fought against it. I didn't work with it. But once I started to understand, it came to me. I started to accept what the energy was doing for me, and I allowed the things to happen that were supposed to happen, that was meant to happen. It made space for me to be able to be here with you all, doing what I'm doing now. Because if I had held on to those things, I would not, under no circumstances, have space to do what I'm doing now. and I would still feel like that there was something missing. And finally, I have found what I've been missing. And that's just the connection to me, spirit, and be able to give creatively, heal together. If you like these messages, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. As I always say, my healing is your healing, and your healing is mine. So welcome to your metamorphosis, butterflies. And until next time, you all have a safe, blessed, and wonderful rest of your day.